Hello, my name is Peter de Kulve, and I am here with two colleagues, and that is Joey, who you have seen, who runs the North American home care business. He's part of my team. And next to him is Edu, who runs the Brazilian home care business, but also is leading the business in South America. What I did, safe harbor statement, I'm now basically 5 months in my role. I visited 23 countries. What did I do in these 23 countries? Obviously connected with my teams, but also cleaned houses and visited stores. And what's the 3 things I learned? What are the 3 friction points that are important in this category? First, it all starts with performance. Cleaning is really important for people. It's the hygiene, it's the germs, but it is also the state of mind. Many people, rich and poor, when the place is clean, you feel more relaxed, you feel more zen. Secondly, I'm a little bit OCD. I actually like cleaning. I've always done my whole life because it gives me sort of peace of mind. Most people are not like me. They actually hate it. So it's a race to convenience. Cleaning aids that make it go faster and faster and faster, and when you can afford it, have somebody else doing it for you. But there is a third friction point, and it's a little bit a new friction point. I was in Vietnam, and we were cleaning a small apartment with a floor cleaner, which smells really nice. We had put expensive fragrances in it. And the lady opens the window. I said, why do you open the window? She said, yeah, these are toxic fumes. It's unhealthy. And there is no science, but many people believe that all these chemicals are unhealthy. And this is a new friction point. Just like you had organics in food, naturals in BPC. No real science that it is better, but deep belief systems. And for us, this is an opportunity, because we can help solve a friction point. So this is the sort of consumer side, but there is another side. And I thought, shall I put up a chart or shall I not do that? And I decided not to do it because it's the only thing you will remember. And that is the fact that cleaning is a dirty business. What do we basically sell is petrochemicals with lots of polymers in plastic bottles. The footprint of Unilever Home Care, we have the carbon footprint of the country of Slovenia. We have the water usage of the domestic water users of the UK. And we leave a lot of plastic, 22 Eiffel Towers, in nature. And this is just Unilever Home Care. So clearly, next to the friction points, we need to deal with some of these externalities. Because when we don't, at a certain moment, they will start hitting us. But they're also an opportunity. So, what are now really the jobs to be done? You know, it's one step back when you talk about cleaning clothes care. You do the sorting. You do a little bit of pre-wash on the stains, on the colors. You put it in the main wash. When you still have problems because it's still not smelling nicely or it's too harsh, you basically take it through a post-wash, you do drying, you do ironing, you put it in a cupboard. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, do you recognize this? Yes, because everybody in the whole world does this. You say, so, wow, that's a nice global industry. But what is the reality? That the drivers for this are highly local. The water quality you have in your country, hard, soft, dirty, clean. Do you use washing machines or do you work with the hand? Do you have wools or do you have synthetics? You know, what type of detergent quality are you used to? What's your income level? Do you have money? Do you not have money? What's the competition? This is the perfect global and local business. And many of you have asked me, you know, why is Unilever so good in this category? Why is this performance so good? Because it really plays to Unilever's strengths. I will show you now a small video that we made on a mobile phone. And it's quite funny, but you see what I do when I travel. The glorious world of home care. It's a good one. She uses a lot of product. Good. So, this is my world. How do we help these people be more efficient cleaning their clothes? I'll give you a small example. This is Pakistan. We had a problem in Pakistan because my Pakistan market share was going badly. And I was talking to the guy who's running the business and I said, what is now happening? I said, yeah, currency crisis, people don't have a lot of money, people are down trading, you know, problems, portfolio is not good. And then I said, okay, go and talk. What is now, make some films, do some research. And what did we discover? We actually, because the cost went up through a devaluation, we had underfilled our package. But what we learned is that actually they wash a little bit atypical in Pakistan. In one load, they have a big load, they first do their whites, then they take the whites out, in the same water they do their darks, wash it again and then rinse their darks. But by underfilling, actually we did not put enough product in the package. Our competitor, local competitor, had just raised the price and didn't do the underfill, and it worked much better for the consumer. So you really need to drive basics in all these spaces very, very hard. One step back. It's a 10 billion business. We're in fabric solutions, that is the washing of clothes. We're in conditioners. We're in home and hygiene, that is cleaning the house. And we have the life essential business, which is basically water and air. Very strong brands, and we are very strong, especially in emerging markets. And we have a strong performance. We consistently, for a number of years, have growing ahead of market. And in many markets, we have number 1 or number 2 positions. And these are not small markets, these are huge markets. And we come from relatively low profitability, and under the leadership of Nitin and Kees, we have year over year worked up the profitability. Still not where it wants to be, but we have shown that we can drive a delta every year. And by both growing and by improving profitability, what we can do, and I will explain a little bit why, we have actually created a really good business. So what is a strategy? And many of you ask, why is this now really working? Because we have a relatively simple strategy and we are very consistent to that strategy. First, there's always a lot of work you can do on geographic footprint, on channel footprint, a lot of work on cost. We, in home care, on the Nitin, developed the 5S, the COPTOP design to value programs, network optimization, lots of space in e-commerce, Joey business. What's your share of e-commerce now in your total sales? 30% of 7th Gen is e-commerce. Can you believe it? So lots of opportunities there. Speed is really important because when you have a screw up like we have in Pakistan, when you repair it a year later, that's very costly. So it's always how quickly can you react, not only of opportunity, but also when you make mistakes. Good global local, and there's a lot of new science developing in the area of cleaning, and I will talk about that a little bit later. But I'm going to talk about 3 things in particular. Product superiority. Superior products are the best chance to actually grow penetration and share. And therefore, an enormous amount of focus goes permanently to optimize our products, because you're never done, because as soon as you improve your product, the competitor improves their product, so there's a continuous thing. Driving convenience. And last but not least, cleaner choices. How are we now fundamentally dealing with this horrible footprint of this category? So, a lot of work happens in market development, and we have a very structured program for that. We started this base with bars. Bars turned into powders, powders into liquids, liquids into unit dose. Next phase will be auto dose, machines that fill dose themselves and order themselves. It's a lot about driving new benefits, whether it's naturals or whether it's sensitive. There are endless opportunities and moving into new channels. Biggest channel opportunity, obviously, is e-commerce. But we also develop, services and professional channels. And that is basically at the core of the growth model. And then a lot of innovation. Simple innovation, line extensions. But we also have been quite successful with the creation of new brands. Love Home Planet was mentioned. It's a sizable, it's the most successful home care launch in China for the last 5 years. So, these are big new things. We launched a new brand in India. We're experimenting with dry wash. We haven't cracked that yet. And we've made acquisitions for portfolio fill. Obviously, 7Gen, a very chemical safe and natural home care brand, which we have brought to 30 countries. It's a pretty big nightmare because it's a lot of work, but we are in 30 countries and we're building from that. We have bought a New York business, the Laundress, that has landed in the meantime in China. So a lot of work on innovation and portfolio development. This is the Chinese home care portfolio 3 years ago. And this is the portfolio that we have in the market at this moment in time. And this is the sort of stuff that drives growth. New benefits, new price points, lots of innovation. Love Home Planet is there, 7Gen is there, Laundress is in there, lots of new Omo products. So lots of portfolio development. We talked a lot about purpose in Alan's presentation. You saw it in Sunny, you saw it with Hanneke. This is also super important for home care. We have a beautiful brand called Domestos. It's bloody bleach. What can you now say about bleach? But bleach is super important. And we believe that with Domestos, we can fight a global war on poor sanitation. And I will show you 2 examples of how we play this in the UK, where we basically fight for clean school toilets, which are a disaster, even in the UK. And in India, Mr. Modi has built 200 million toilets. But many people don't want to clean their toilet, because cleaning toilet is a lower caste thing. And when you ask your wife to clean a toilet, or your daughter, she gets associated with lower caste activity systems. Watch the 2 videos. I hope. 1 click, huh?
தலைவர் கையில டாய்லெட் பிரஷா யாரோட வேலையா அது?
ஏன் வேலைதான். வீட்டுல மத்த வேலையெல்லாம் செய்ய வைக்கப்படல. அப்புறம் டாய்லெட் கிளீன் பண்ண மாத்திரம் எதுக்கு வைக்கப்படணும்? அசுத்தம்னு தெரிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் அது வேற யாராவது வந்து கிளீன் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறது தான் அசிங்கம். சுத்தம் செய்ய நான் தயாராயிட்டேன். நீங்க? என்னோடையும் டோமக்ஸோடையும் இந்த முயற்சியில சேருங்க. வைக்கப்படாதீங்க. டாய்லெட் பிரஷ் கையில் எடுங்க. உங்க ஆதரவை domexforsanitation.com இணையதளத்துல பதிவு பண்ணுங்க.
Norovirus, Salmonella, E. coli. You make me sick. Hiding, breeding, infecting the weak. Germs is your bad news. I'm Domestos, and I'm coming for you. I've helped build 200,000 toilets for people who had none, and I have an unstoppable determination to kill all known germs dead. I am Domestos, and I am unstoppable.
Good. So, very different context, very strong purpose, but also same identity for the brand. The Domestos as a sort of Superman cleaning toilets and killing germs. But the science of cleaning used to be very stable. It's basically surfactant science, it's chemistry, it's basically petrochemicals. But very rapidly, the science around cleaning is changing. And that is really important because that is also our way to deal with the footprint. So we do a lot of work in creating very efficient new formulations and make them much more weight efficient. We are now moving away from petrochemicals and move through bioscience in very new surfactant systems. For example, we have launched a product in South America. It's a hand dish product, and it is made through a bioscience process. And we created a new surfactant from sugar. And the surfactant the molecule is so big that it doesn't penetrate your skin. So it cleans as good as a traditional surfactants, but it is much softer on hands. It's pH neutral, so actually you can add all kinds of enzymes and they work much better. So a lot of change in the science of our products. It's also really important, we use a lot of water not to have persistent ingredients in there. At this moment in time, most of the fragrance systems are still in encapsulated plastics. So you leave, basically, with a lot of these fragrances, you leave microplastics in nature. So we need to take that out. It will require new science, and we're working that with our suppliers. A wash in India basically takes between the 50 and 60 liters of water in the different phases. Can we redesign, especially the rinsing phase, and move that from 50 to 20, 30 liters? Obviously, how do we design products that always work on room temperature and don't need to be heated? And then last but not least, how do we get to better plastic, but especially to less plastic? And we're making a big bet on refills. And you will see that a little bit later on. And when I need to summarize our Cleaner Choices vision, is that over the years, we want to work towards the following. Basically move away from petrochemicals and become 100% renewable, and preferably not palm. Secondly, massively reduce single-use plastics with a lot of focus on refills and reuse, and make all the ingredients 100% biodegradable and very rinse efficient, and a little water, and able to use in cold water. So this is the home care strategy. It's relatively simple. We have built it over a number of years, and we consistently execute it, and that drives the consistent results. But now, to give a little bit more flavor to this, I've asked Edo to describe what he has been doing in Brazil, where we run a very successful business in difficult macroeconomic environment. Edo.
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon, everybody. So before I start showing what we are doing, I just want to give you a feeling of what our business is like in Brazil. So we have a very strong fabric solution business. We have a very good fabric sensations, conditioner business. We are in the home and hygiene territory as well. And we are building a new business platform that I'll get you guys through in a minute. But I'm very proud to say, as Peter rightly mentioned, we've been very successful in the past years on driving our growth. So in 6 years, we nearly doubled the size of our business, and that's in hard currency. At the same time as we've been adding 100 bips year on year on profitability. And looking at this, one may ask, is there more fuel for growth moving forward? So I'll give you a little bit of the feeling of where we are in the year to date. So we are actually growing quite fast in the business, and we are growing across all the categories, and we are growing in our new business as well. And how are we doing this, And I think that's the reason why I came here a little bit to share. We took what's our home care strategy globally, and we fast-tracked it in Brazil. In a gap window of 6 months, from March to September this year, we relaunched 92% of our portfolio. Okay? Imagine how hard the supply chain has to work to get all this done in the market. But we not only relaunch it for the sake of relaunching it, we're relaunching it, driving superior products, bringing cleaner choices into the market in a way that actually raised the bar in our marketing excellence, moving from advertising to content. And how we get to do this is actually building one-to-one connections. As you guys got to see a little bit earlier in our digital hubs here, that's a capability that we have across the globe, and that's what making us deliver our message and our innovation in a much more relevant way to each of our consumers. This is what our gondola, our shelves used to look, and this is what it's looking now. It's a radical transformation in the market. And to give a little bit of a bigger flavor on this, I explain a little bit what we did in our biggest brand. Okay? Some of you may not know, but the top single-selling SKU of Unilever Global, it's almost 1 kilo in Brazil. Okay? This is our biggest single individual SKU. And we fully relaunched this brand. I have to say that it's such a big relaunch that when we started, even in Unilever, some of us were a little bit in doubt if this was the right thing to do at the right moment. But when you have such a big brand like this that charges a premium, if we don't innovate and if we don't lead the agenda, we might lag behind. But we are not doing this only driven by relaunching the core. We did this actually engaging consumers throughout this journey. I have to say that actually 2 weeks ago, we were awarded the top of mind brand in Brazil. When I mean top of mind brand in Brazil, I'm not saying top of mind in home care. I'm saying top of the top. We were awarded the most well-known brand in Brazil, ahead of Google, ahead of Facebook, ahead of Apple, ahead of Nestlé, and that's even more impressive considering this is a home care brand. But how we got to do this was not only communication-led, it was very much innovation-led. We completely relaunched our core, every single SKU, but with a much better product, with a much cleaner choice. It is a compacted portfolio. What it means by compacted, we take the known goods out of the formulation and replace it by cleaner choices in it. That's single driving 33% less trucks, because you need less trucks and you are increasing your density per pallet. But also we are entering white spaces. We launched the Delicates range that's performing really well. The market's shifting, and we also were the first brands to enter in the front load. Our market in Latin America, it's pretty much top load when I talk about washing machines, but new consumers are actually going into front load, and we enter there. But this is very much successful when we are very much rooted into consumer real insights. So, of course, when you talk about superior products, and when you think about laundry, you can imagine how much water there is in a product. And if you concentrate, this is very easy to make the product more profitable, but maybe not very easy to be adapted by the consumer habit, because maybe consumers don't want to change the way they dose. They just want to keep life in the same way they've been doing for many years. So the insight that we brought to life was the fact of saying how we sell a concentrated product, but actually consumers can dilute at home, so you get all the benefits of concentration without the challenge of changing consumer habits. And that's what we can see, later on, not now, because I know you're very much inspired by my presentation, but if you want to follow the hashtag #NewOmo2Dilute, okay, this is real consumer feedback. Okay? You will be able to see what consumers that actually buy our products have to say about our innovation. Okay? Yes, you have to speak Portuguese, but you can see more likes than dislikes, and I think that's going to be universal language and going to help you get a bit of the feeling, you know. This is a breakthrough innovation because this innovation comes with a unique technology from Unilever, not easy to be copied by competitors, but more important, this is innovation that shows a little bit what the future will look like when we drive this agenda all across. But it was not only in the fabric solutions business that we did the change. And I know that every time we talk about purpose, one may think, does purpose really link into sales? And the relaunch of Comfort, our softness brand, it's 100% rooted in purpose. And what's the purpose of the brand? The purpose of the brand is actually making clothes last for longer. Before I actually joined this category a few years ago, I had no idea that the fashion industry is the second biggest polluter in the world. So if you make clothes last for longer, you have a real benefit for consumers because they can have their clothes lasting for longer, but also you have a huge impact in the environment. And when we relaunched this brand, we said softness have always been a product pretty much well known for making clothes a little bit softer, but also for driving a great fragrance to your clothes. And for great fragrance in many countries, actually giving the feeling that you actually care for the family, you care for the clothes. Once we step changed this brand and we reignited and we brought purpose into it, we actually made consumers understand that the product has an additional benefit to it. And that is our top growing brand in the country year to date. And this is 100% driven by the fact that consumers can understand the added benefit we are driving into it. But one cannot live from your current portfolio, and that's how we are building the portfolio of the future. A year ago, we had no professional business. And what I mean about professional business is actually having products that we can sell in a professional channel in the country. From 0 to 35 million euros only in Brazil. And that it's empowered by our brand, our route to market, our capability in our factory, our R&D technology. This is really driving the scale, but even more, having the right channel. So we are going through a new route. So products that couldn't get to facilities before, now through our e-commerce, we make it even better, the way we can drive the distribution and accelerate this business. But last, we understand there are more opportunities. We understand that through technology and the knowledge of our brands and the power of our brands, we can connect consumer needs to other consumers that are willing to help them solve their needs. What I mean by this is by a simple app, I can get consumers that don't want to wash and iron their clothes with consumers that are willing to wash and iron their clothes. Just like Uber did with mobility, we are doing it with washing your clothes. One connects with the other, and we empower all this through technology and our expertise. But we are doing even further. 65% of households built in Latin America, actually most of the developing world, are smaller than 40 square meters. That's a pretty small house. And when that house it doesn't have a laundry area anymore, it doesn't have a laundry facility, and becoming a shared laundry becomes very important. That's how also we are building a shared laundry business that we actually connect consumer demands to our capability and knowledge on how we wash and clean their clothes. And that's how, transforming our portfolio, we are accelerating growth in Brazil and driving the agenda of the future. So, Peter, I invite you back to sum up all this.
So, what is the home care strategy? First place is cleaner choices. And that is, how do we clean up cleaning? Because it cannot be that we carry this heavy footprint for many years to come. Because either governments will intervene or consumers will intervene. It's also good because we solve consumer friction points around the stress around chemicals, synthetic chemicals, the stress around plastics. Secondly, premium innovations. This is market development. How do you grow the business? Obviously, by serving people who don't buy laundry products, but that are not that many, but selling the more premium formats with better efficacy and more convenience. Thirdly, driving new channels. And last but not least, I actually like it that the science of cleaning is changing, because all the new biochemistry and all the new enzyme science is actually complex. And that is really good, because when you can make products in your garage, there are no entry barriers. And this science and the focus we put on science is building new entry barriers to the category. So this is home care, and looking forward to your questions. And Joey and Edu will help me when it gets really complex. Any questions? Thank you.
Peter, thank you. It's Martin de Boer at Jefferies. First of all, I just want to say what a tremendous job you've done in home care over the last few years. It's been the growth and margin engine of the business. Yeah. But a slightly less charitable interpretation of what's happened is that it was a woefully under-earning business in 2010 that was remargined and regrown in a time when Procter & Gamble have lost their way strategically. So now they're back. They're going to come after you in Brazil and India, just like they have before. Where does that leave you, and what's the plan to deal with that?
Yeah, so clearly they're good at that trade. They've always been pretty decent in home care, but we are also very good. So, even in the US, where we have a tiny business, we have a business that grows 20-30% per year. We can even compete, be it the flanker strategy in the US. In big places like China, there are local competition, there's P&G and there is us. And you need to be on the forefront with your innovation, with your execution. So enough place for two of us. Actually, I like it because markets with a strong P&G, it helps to uptrade consumers to higher benefit areas, which basically grows the category. So yeah, they're there, they're good. But we're also there and we're also good. So that's, I don't want to be cocky, but we know how to compete with them. I either have been super boring or super clear. Okay.
Hello. Hi. It's Anubhav Malhotra from Liberum. I just wanted to ask about the decision to move a bit more into professional channel. The channel has always been there.
Sure.
Why have you ignored it in the past? Or have you ignored it in the past and now you are?
We were in there with Lever Diversi. And then basically we handed it over to Diversi to do this. And at a certain moment that contract came to an end. And we said, okay, let's rework our relationship with Diversi, because this is clearly a big opportunity. I think especially green and clean chemical technology is really important. This will go wrong. And we have products that are truly safe when you use them. So I believe with our science and with our brands that we can build a nice billion and a half business in this space. Let's see. First indications really good. You had a question there in the back, I believe. Yeah.
Hello, Chris Pitcher from Redburn. You were mentioning that the science and the bioscience in particular is creating a barrier to entry, but how much of that is actually proprietary to Unilever, and how much is it using third parties to come up with the science for you?
It's very interesting. Our main research facility is Port Sunlight, where the good old man started the business. But we have moved to the University of Liverpool, where we're now co-located with the material science department of the University of Liverpool. And innovation is now very much with startups, small companies. It is with academics. And how it works is that you develop a specific application for a part of science together. You co-fund it. They have it outside cleaning. We keep it inside cleaning. So we believe that, of course, there's also stuff that is generic. When we go to Novozymes and say, give me this or that, they will probably, you can fence it off a little bit, but they, of course, will sell it to everybody else. So going deeper into the technology and building more hardcore IP. I think that will be the name of the game over the coming years. And I think that is really good because, I've been in this consumer business now for a long time. And over the last couple of years, a lot of the growth came from emerging markets and new markets. We have not always been very good at driving science-based innovation. And now with being everywhere in the emerging market, we really need to dial up innovation in a world of reviews and basically, open social communication on product performance. Actually having products that are superior, backed up by science, I think that's the sort of space where we need to try to push it again. So in this respect, Marijn will stay our consultant for a very long time because this is his world.
Hey, Peter. Can you maybe elaborate your strategy in home care in the US? Because obviously a decade ago you exited the US.
Yeah.
You're now back in with 7th generation and the laundress. I still think it's a small single-digit percentage in the US. Just generally, do you want to get back more into the mainstream in home care in the US, or are you just happy building out 7th generation and the laundress? And then separately for Joey as well, could you maybe talk a little bit about the growth rates of 7th gen since you've been owned by Unilever and how you've scaled your business outside of the US? Thank you.
Okay. It is super important for us to be in the US. Why? The most interesting and competitive market in the world, by the way, is the Chinese market. When you really want to see what is happening on innovation, strategies, etc., you need to be in China because you learn most in China. The second most interesting market from a learning perspective is the US. For us, not having a toe in the US would be problematic because you're just not connected to what everybody is doing, whether that's SC Johnson or P&G or Target with their Everspring ranges. So it's important to be there. But with that, we have a flanker strategy. So, going head on against a 500-pound gorilla is probably complex. But we can build in this huge market very profitable and interesting niches. Now, for example, we talk about 7th gens, but we also have Schmitz. With Schmitz, we basically sell grandmas cleaning agents to Gen Z, which is an interesting proposition. The laundress doesn't sell detergents, but they sell shampoo for cashmere. And the most expensive product is $60 for 750 ml. And there are people coming from China to pick it up. So, but it is clearly, it's a niche. So that's our overall strategy. Joey, do you want to say something? You have a thing.
Sure. Yeah, they gave me a mic. Does that work? Yeah. What I'd say about the business in the US is post-acquisition, it's going really well. The business is growing really strong. We've seen an acceleration. The home care business in particular is growing strong double digits, north of 15% a year. So we're really excited about the growth that we've experienced. I was talking to some people earlier today, and 7th generation's never been this kind of $0 to $1 billion overnight kind of business, but has been a real consistent growth engine over the past 30 years. And we're seeing that, as I said, accelerate really nicely. And as we think about the scale of this business and the potential for it in the future, we're really confident that we can compete in the marketplace because we've seen, even as big conventional brands have come into the space, that just having the chemistry alone isn't enough. The brand plays a really important role in enabling us to accelerate despite an onslaught of competition. And then secondly, I look at how our brand performs at places like Target. And the shocking fact for us at Target is that we are the number 2 Unilever brand at Target. So after Dove. So there's Dove, there's 7th generation. Now there's a big gap between us and Dove, but it's a very big brand, inside the Target business. And I guess for me that creates real confidence that there's a brand of scale that's out there, and we're seeing great growth as we continue to build distribution, and velocity continues to grow in the places that we're already existing.
And we're by the way, we're now in 30 countries. which was really, really scary. And, we said, how the hell can we go immediately to 30 countries? I think we will survive in more than half of them. But we have learned so much and so many new insights to just pivot and drive harder. Yeah.
Can I just ask what your research shows the consumer does differently in developing markets when they have more disposable income in their pockets in relation to your business? And I suppose as a second question on that theme, do you have all the right brands and the right tiering to serve any changes in behavior?
Yeah. So Unilever always believes in home care to have a total category spanning all price points. So, for example, Argentina is not the happiest of places at this moment in time. We have Skip, the most expensive brand, and we have a sort of Omo, Ale in the middle, and we have an economy brand. So when people are temporarily distressed, we don't want to lose them. That is one. But one thing is really important in home care, and this is, it's the beginning insight. Cleaning matters. So people are willing to pay for it. But convenience matters as well. So when people get richer, you can just upgrade them to more convenient, more effective products. And that is what we see. And you see that very rapidly in countries like China, where when you look at from a format perspective, China has gone from absolutely bars in 25 years to actually a more premium structure of the market than the US. So it goes very rapidly when people have money, and we know how to play it. We know when to come with liquids. We know when to come with capsules. We know when people are ready to move to a sprays product, because we have all modeled it, and we can then say, okay, at this moment the market is ripe, maybe only in these cities, to start building certain premium benefits. And we have the flexibility that when the shit hits the fan, that you can also take people back to cheaper formats and then hopefully take them up again at a certain moment. I think that's really our bread and butter in this category.